And hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dela's Voice. Today, I have the pleasure to have Stacey Haluka on the show. Thank you so much, Stacey, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to learn all about your knowledge and your superpower. It's all very fascinating. Thank you so much for being on here. And you have a beautiful background, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
So pretty. So Stacey, I have posted a little bio on Facebook, but I do want to introduce you to everybody because you are a lady of multiple talents, and I'm just so overwhelmed by everything you know, everything you have in your power, and the way you're helping the world every single day. Would you tell me a little bit about yourself, please, and the audience?
Yes, my name is Stacey Haluka. I have a business called Your Inner Peace, and that's PIECE. The premise of that and how I came about that is so often in society, we are more concerned about how we look on the outside to other people. You know, we have our hair done and our makeup done and go for facials and massages or manicures and pedicures, and we take care of the outside, but what's going on in the inside? What's going on in your emotional structure and inside your mind and your unconscious mind and so on. So that's where Your Inner Peace, PIECE, came in, is how about we work on our inner selves? And especially with the way society is today, we're portraying something that we're really not, especially with social media, and we're putting things out there and making our lives look perfect, which has, you know, a real not good impact on people in general, because we see other people's lives and we think they're perfect, and then we wonder what's wrong with ourselves, right? So bringing that all together and understanding that we all have had issues in our lives, we've all had traumas, we've all had negative things happen to us. There's nobody out there that has escaped it. So, but have you healed from that? Have you moved on from that? Have you been able to delve into your inner peace to find that peace?
So, first of all, like I think that's fascinating. But how did you start on a journey like this? Because obviously, you must have gone through some challenges in your life to decide that this is the life you want to start leading. Or was it always like this for you? I don't know. I feel like everybody has that breakthrough. When was yours?
I wouldn't say everybody has that breakthrough, but everybody has that breakdown.
Right? Yeah, I like to call it spiritual awakening.
It is. It really is. And you know, I have a past, and, you know, I was sexually molested when I was 9 years old. I was stalked by an older man when I was 11 years old for almost a year of my life. And there were a lot of threats and phone calls. The police were involved. And then I got into an abusive relationship in my early 20s. And it was just this place that I seemed to not feel good about myself, and I wasn't deserving and I wasn't good enough. So I fell into these patterns of neglect or abuse from others, and it was all because I didn't heal from that inner child, you know, that had been abused and stalked at the ages of 9 and 11. And I've also had 3 major head injuries, so I have head trauma. So a lot of this came to head, and there was another incident that happened in my life, and I call it the incident because it was quite big, but it shattered my life, and it kind of brought everything to a head in that moment. And I had sought counseling, I had gone to psychologists and so on, and I eventually was diagnosed with PTSD. And this incident that happened they had labeled it as a complex PTSD moment, because so many things had happened in my life that I hadn't dealt with, and I just kept moving on and doing and you know, being and living, but I hadn't worked on the things that needed to work on. So when something happened, it brought everything crashing down on me. Mm-hmm. So that was really the breakdown point, the breakthrough point. It took me a long time to get out of that state and out of that place. And I was working harder on myself, and I was doing anything and everything that I could in order to move beyond this impending doom feeling. You know, at one point I wanted to die. I didn't want to be here. I was in a dark place. So I get it. I work from that place. I understand that place. I can have empathy for people who are in that space. And I think, you know, you had asked me before what my superpower is. I think I've always had that superpower of holding space for people, of, you know, I was thinking back in high school, some people would call me Dear Abby, because I was really able to listen to people and hold space for them and be present for them with their problems. And for somehow, I just always knew what they needed to hear at that moment. And people just started coming to me even back in high school. So it's always kind of been there, but definitely, you know, through my life, there's been things that have happened that have pushed me to the place where I'm at now.
Wow. So where are you in your journey right now, Stacey, with all of that?
Where am I? With PTSD, there's good days and bad days. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend life is fluffy and perfect all the time. You know, there's still some anxiety I deal with. There's things that I deal with, but I've taken a real holistic approach about handling this. And those days that, you know, I'm a little gentler with myself. I'm kinder with myself. And I say, okay, today's not going to be a great day. So what can we do to make it the best we can, or get through it? Or, you know, and then the next day I'll wake up and it's like, it's a bright, shiny, beautiful day. So I'm allowing myself to have those times where it's okay. And I want people to know that it's okay to have shitty days, to not feel good about yourself or in a good place. And, you know, but just pick yourself up after, do something better to make yourself feel good, do some self-care, reach out to somebody, talk to somebody, find somebody that can actually help you and move from that space.
Self-compassion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where would we be without self-compassion? And I mean, we see so many people around us who don't have that, right?
Yes.
So big.
We're hardest on ourselves the most. And especially women, we're taught to hide our emotions and take care of everyone else. And men are just taught to suppress their emotions. They're not supposed to show emotions. They're not supposed to cry. They're not supposed to, you know, do anything that shows emotions. And that's the old way of thinking. And I'm seeing that shifting a lot right now. Like I have men that are calling me and coming as clients and stuff, and they're saying, I need this. I need this help. So I'm seeing this shift happen. But self-compassion and self-worth, you know, you're the only you have. This is the only body that you're ever going to have. Take care of it. Take care of you. This is supposed to be a beautiful, bountiful life that we live in. Take care
and it is.
Absolutely.
It is. It's so hard to see that sometimes, because like you said, sometimes we just wake up and we're not in that space.
Right.
So it's important to remember that this is temporary. Yes. It's a temporary situation and it will change. How do you remind yourself of that when that happens?
I think it's because I've done so much work on myself. I've read a lot. I've tried and gone through so many different therapies and modalities and holistic things. And it's just, you know, for 25 years or so now, I've been on this journey. You know, I've been through the spiritual journey. I've been through the self-help journey. I have a lot of really great support in my life and mentors and so on that I can look to and guide to. And I remember just, you know, those positive thinking affirmations of it's okay. You know, it's just okay. And it's okay to be in this space. And sometimes that's all you need to hear from yourself is it's okay. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be perfect today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so many people strive for perfection, and really, there's no such thing, right?
No.
There's no such thing.
No.
And we can disappoint ourselves every day if that's what we're looking for, that perfection. So, Stacey, how are you helping people today?
There's a few different ways, Dela. One of the biggest things that I did on my journey after I was diagnosed with PTSD is I went for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it had the biggest impact on me out of anything I've ever done. So I decided to get certified with Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And what that does is it reprograms your unconscious mind. So are you there?
Yes.
My screen just kind of...
I see you. I hear you.
Okay.
all good.
Okay, sorry. I actually had a call come in and my screen disappeared, so I apologize. I was like, what happened?
Technology is perfect and it works.
Yes. So what happens, and I'm just going to back up so people understand where I am, Dela, is you have to think of our conscious mind, and I'm sure most people have heard we only use 10% of our brain, right? And that's our conscious mind. That's our conscious mind that I'm using right now to have a discussion with you, that I'm using my body with, that I'm thinking rational thoughts and analyzing and so on. That's our conscious mind. That's we have, it's estimated about 60 to 70 thoughts per day, because our conscious mind is constantly going, right? It's making decisions all day long. It's ruminating about things that have happened, haven't happened, are going to happen, and so on. So that's our conscious mind. Our unconscious mind, if you think about it like a computer, our unconscious mind is like the servo mechanism of everything that's ever happened in our lives. So everything you've done, said, been said to you, that's been done to you, that you've done to others, every single thing has been recorded into your unconscious mind. So if I were to say to you, Dela, what's your middle name? You would be able to answer that because it's in your conscious mind, right? That's something that you are consciously aware of. However, if I were to say to you, Dela, what did you eat for dinner a month ago?
Oh dear. Right?
You wouldn't be able to remember that consciously unless it was a specific event. If you had a wedding a month ago, you might say, oh, I was at a wedding and we ate this. Or so it's those big moments in our lives that we can consciously recall. The other moments are stored in our mind, but we can't consciously recall them unless it's been a big event, whether good or bad, right? And the other thing that happens is sometimes, especially with trauma, with abuse, with the really big things, sometimes when we're not able to deal with it at that time, it gets stored in our unconscious mind and it gets muddled and we don't remember it happening, especially if it's been a child who's been abused or something has happened as a child. They don't have the capacity to deal with it at that time. So it gets buried in their unconscious mind. And, there's people I've worked with that they'll come to me and say, I think I was abused, or I think something happened. They don't remember it. They can't recall it. So I like to explain it like, do you know the game Jenga where you stack the blocks?
Yeah.
You remove the blocks. So every negative thing that's been said to you, done to you, whatever, is like removing a block and stacking it on top. So the game Jenga itself is like your emotional structure. And every time something happens, it's like this little weak spot that's created in your structure until the top becomes so heavy and your emotional structure is so weak that it has no choice but to crash down. And that's where, for example, myself, the complex PTSD happened. I crashed. That's where road rage comes from. That's where people murder from, is from that space. There was a study done I was reading, and it was something like, it was close to 90% of inmates that were interviewed and asked if they meant to murder somebody, if they meant to do it. Close to 90% said no. It happened in the heat of passion. They didn't know what they were doing. Their emotional structure broke down. They didn't see anything.
Wow. And so you're saying it's because, like you said, it was so heavy that it crashed.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, absolutely. So that's why my story is so perfect in a way, is because, all these things kept happening and I kept pushing them down and moving on, pushing them down and moving on until this one incident happened and everything came crashing down on me and I couldn't move. I could not move. So that's why it's so important to take care of your inner peace and the emotional structure so that doesn't happen, so that you don't crash down. For example, Dela, have you ever, been in a moment where you've taken something out on somebody closest to you that didn't do anything?
Sure.
Right? Because
that's the easiest thing to do.
Right. It's the easiest thing to do, is we take things out on those closest to us because our emotional structure isn't sound. There's some underlying things that are happening, and we blow up at the wrong people at the wrong time, and they had nothing to do with what's happening. It's because you are at the place that you've been because you haven't taken care of the other stuff. So back to the neuro-linguistic programming, what that does is it actually helps to reprogram your unconscious mind. So you don't forget about the incident. You don't, it's not a memory eraser, it's an emotion eraser. So after you go through the neuro-linguistic programming, you can reprogram the unconscious mind so that you no longer have the emotional reaction to those events that have happened to you, is the simplest way I can explain that.
This is a really good explanation.
Okay, good.
So let me get this right. Then, so you go in and you change the meaning we gave to certain events that happened in our lives. So we no longer give it a meaning of I'm not good enough, but make it mean something else.
Not necessarily. It's not going in and changing the meaning or changing the words that you say. There is a linguistic aspect of this, and I teach people higher energy words, lower energy words, and that's a whole other aspect we can get into in a bit. But what it does is it neutralizes the emotional reaction. So let's say, for instance, you were abused at the age of 10, and that's a horrible thing to happen to somebody. And this nullifies and neutralizes the emotional connection to that event. So if you actually remember the event and haven't buried it, you're still going to remember it, but you're no longer going to have that emotional response to that event.
So this could help people who are suffering with PTSD. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, keep going.
Yes. So I'm not sure what else to say about that. What else? Do you have any questions about that, or should I add more?
Yeah, no, keep adding more. It's all very fascinating.
Okay. So what we do, and generally a session is about 2 hours long, and people always kind of want to know what to do and so on. But, I teach people how, for example, would you like to learn how to get rid of a negative emotion in about 2 minutes?
Yes.
Do you want to do an exercise with me?
Let's do it right now.
Okay, let's do this. So can you recall a recent negative emotion that you've had? Some anger, fear, anxiety, something that someone has said to you, something that hurt you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, something does come to my mind.
Okay, and what would you name that? Would it be fear, anger?
Frustration.
Okay, let's get into frustration then. And anybody watching can do this with themselves, but you're going to replace frustration with whatever words you would like to use, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate. Pardon?
I'm actually gonna, as you're talking, I'm actually going to ask people to comment if they like, send us any questions if they like, and I can actually see those. If they write them, I can read them out loud too. Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. So let's do it.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is just watch me the first time, and then I'm going to guide it through you. So what I want you to do is take your left hand and put it in a loose fist and lay it on your lap, on your left leg. You're not squeezing, it's just a very loose fist, okay? And then I'm going to ask you to lift your chin up an inch, because what happens when we do this, Dela, is a lot of us keep our heads down. When our heads are down, we're actually accessing the lower part of the brain, which is the primal brain, which is where the not good emotions exist. So that's actually my theory of, SAD and seasonal affectiveness disorders. In the winter, what are we always doing? We're cold. We're keeping our head down, right? So we're always constantly accessing lower emotions. But simply by lifting your chin an inch, you're reaching the higher brain, the limbic brain, where the good emotions rest. So even if you're not feeling good, just lift your chin up a little bit, right? So then I'm going to ask you to lift your eyes up and pick a point on the ceiling, and don't move your eyes from that point. And once you have that point, I want you to open up your peripheral vision so that you can see what's around you without moving your eyes. And if you want, you can move your hands to the side of your head to make sure that you're seeing on each side of you without moving your eyes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to ask you to take your right pointy finger. You can watch me because we're going to do this, redo this. You're going to take your right. You can look at me now because we're going to redo it. This is just the demo.
Okay. All
So
right. Okay.
because you have your left hand on your leg. So then I'm going to ask you to take your pointy finger and put it on your first knuckle.
Mm-hmm.
And take a few breaths, and then we're going to release it, and I'm going to walk you all the way through that, okay?
Okay.
So let's start, Dela, and put your loose fist on your left leg.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to lift your chin and look up. Open up your peripheral vision. Take your pointy finger and put it on your first knuckle. And I would like you to say, I now release all of the feelings of frustration while maintaining the positive lessons. And take a deep breath. And remove your finger and look back down. Now I want you to lower your head and see if you can feel that emotion again. How does that frustration emotion from that event feel to you now?
Not as frustrating.
Pardon me?
Not as frustrating.
Not as? Okay. So let's lift our chin again, and we're going to do this again. So look up. Breathe. Put your finger on your knuckle. I now release the negative emotion of frustration while maintaining the positive lessons. Remove your finger, take a deep breath. And look back down. Lower your head. And how does that feeling of frustration feel now?
You know, it's gone. Let me tell you, repeating what you just said helped a lot. Just saying the words.
Yes.
It reinforced it in me. Is that a big part of it?
That is a big part of it, but the whole aspect of what you're doing, so this knuckle
Mm-hmm.
is the meridian that goes all the way down into your stomach where we hold on to the negative emotions.
Wow.
So by saying that you're releasing it, but you're maintaining the positive lessons, you're actually hitting right down to the core of that emotion and where it lies.
Let's do that one more time.
Okay, let's do it one more time. Okay?
Yeah.
So find your spot on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Put your finger on your knuckle. Repeat, I now release the negative emotion of frustration while maintaining the positive lesson. And take a deep breath and release your finger. And look back down. Look down and try to access that feeling. How does that feel?
Gone.
Yay! So there's just very simple tools that we can use in understanding how the brain works, how the mind works, how certain things work, you know, working with the neuro-linguistic part of you. Neural means, you know, the neural pathways in your brain, and linguistic means language. So using the combination of your neural pathways and language, we can reprogram anything.
What did I just do?
Well, what you did is you accessed.
I changed the emotion that was created in me as a result of an event.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can do that with anything. If somebody, you know, we all have those days. We wake up in the morning, we stub our toes, we're running late, and the dog's barking or the kids are running, and then, you know, someone cuts us off in traffic or whatever, and you get to work and you're just, take a minute. You can do this in less than 2 minutes to reset yourself and get yourself into a better place, a better state. And you can do it anywhere. Even if you have to go sit on a toilet in the bathroom.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Because what is the alternative, really? Right? Is it better to take a minute and do this so that you can release that emotion? Or, oh my gosh, I can imagine so many things going wrong if we don't do that.
That's right.
Right?
We are self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So if we're already in that mode of having a bad day and we tell everybody your day is bad and you're having a bad day, what do you think is going to keep happening?
Bad day.
So for stopping for 2 minutes, doing this exercise, you can change your whole day ahead of you.
Wow. So, is this part of what meditation does in the morning?
Meditation is something completely different. Meditation is completely.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Meditation is reaching, I mean, the end result is reaching a state where there is no conscious thought. There is nothing going on inside of your head. And when you're in that state, you're able to access sometimes higher realms, sometimes, it's states of bliss you can access. There's Kundalini. There's so many different ways to access the power that's outside of you, right? So meditation is something completely different than what we're talking about here.
Okay. What about mindfulness? Does it have anything to do with NLP?
There is an aspect of mindfulness, and I teach this as well, of being mindful of what your thoughts are, being mindful of what you're saying to people. Words have energy, thoughts have energies. There's empowering words and there's disempowering words. There's words that, they hit you. Like I hear so many people say, oh, I hate this weather, or I hate this food, and I'm like, that's such a strong word to say about something so tiny. We can't change the weather. If you don't like that food, then don't eat that food, or whatever the instance is. But hate is such a strong word to use. Another way to say it is just say, I don't like it. And the unconscious mind receives information different than our conscious mind, and it doesn't understand don't or do, want or have, or should or shouldn't, or commands outside of that. It's very direct. It only realizes descriptive verb words. So if, say for instance, I wanted you to go open the window, Dela, and I said, Dela, would you mind getting up to go open that window? Because I'm nice, right? I'm a nice person, and this is our conscious conversation. Now, if you were wanting to talk to the unconscious mind, it would be open window now. So it's a very direct communication. The unconscious mind loves 3 words. It loves the word now, because if you give it a command of now, it goes, oh, now we're doing this now. And it's going to start looking for ways to bring that to you. You're going to start noticing things now. The unconscious mind loves when there's a because. It's because you're giving it a reason. The unconscious mind loves the word healthy because you're getting the primary job of your unconscious mind is to keep the body safe. So that is why if you had, for example, I've been attacked 4 times by dogs. I would see a dog after all that happened, and I would just fight or flight or freeze. You go into one of those modes because your unconscious mind immediately puts you into that spot because you've been hurt before and you're in danger. And, and that's, NLP can help nullify that as well. But that's the primary aspect of the unconscious mind, is to keep the body safe. So when you give it a health factor of what you want to succeed at, it's going to go to work even faster for you. So if you give it a now, because, and healthy. So for example, and another thing, please don't ever say you want to lose weight, because what's the first thing you want to do when you lose something is find it. So stop that, please. Anybody who out there who's looking at weight loss, please say, I now release the weight because it makes me feel healthy. You're giving it a now, you're giving it a because, and you're giving it a healthy factor. And you're releasing it, not losing it. So it's understanding the linguistic side of things, of what you're saying and how you're saying it, so your unconscious mind takes that direct command. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Okay, so I wanted to go back to the fact that you were attacked 4 times by dogs.
Yes.
And I want to ask you, do you think that has anything to do, is that a pattern that happens because of certain way of feeling, of certain emotions? Does that have any truth in there at all?
Well, I used to just say that they thought I was tasty. So, but definitely we can be, again, what I had said earlier, self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So if we have had, like, the first time I was attacked by a dog, it happened. Okay, things happen, right? But that led me to, anytime I got near a dog, I would go in fight, flight, or freeze and panic. So dogs read your energy, right? And all of a sudden I was in this spot, and it would happen again, and it would happen again, because I was expecting it to happen. Mm-hmm. They're reading my energy of, bite me.
I'm tasty.
Right, I taste good. But yeah, we can definitely get into those and look at the patterns in your life. And that's another thing we look at with neuro-linguistic programming, is what are the patterns in your life? What are the things that seem to keep coming up and are being repeated? Because there's something for you to look at with that. If that is if something still keeps happening, whether it's relationship issues, money issues, being attacked by a dog, or having accidents all the time, and so on, we're self-fulfilling prophecies. So let's look at that. How can we change that so that doesn't keep happening?
Because what I hear a lot of times is, I have bad luck. I'm just an unlucky person. Bad things keep happening to me.
That's
this sort of stuff that we can keep telling ourselves, and we think they're true because that's what we believe, but we don't know what we're doing just by saying them, just by believing them, right? What
Absolutely.
do you think about that?
Absolutely. And it goes back to thoughts are energy, words are energy. So what energy are you putting out into the universe? Are you saying my life sucks? Well, you know what? Your life sucks. Are you being grateful for waking up in a bed in a warm house when so many people in this world don't have that? Gratitude brings you more things to be grateful for. So if you want to focus on what's wrong in your life, you're going to keep getting the things that are not going well. Mm-hmm. If you want to look at the things that are going well and be grateful that, like, today's a beautiful sunny day, or just to take the small things. And I know I've been there, and I've been in the place where it's so dark that there's nothing like to grasp onto. There was no light at the end of the tunnel, but something kept me going every day. I got up every day somehow. And, once I started seeing a little bit of light, I grasped onto that. And I kept going forward and started being grateful for little things and showing little things. And then things started shifting and happening in my life because I was focusing on what was going well.
Yes, that is powerful. That is powerful. Keeping a list of things you're grateful for. I always talk about this because I'm one of those people that was not grateful for the longest time in my life, and I think that was part of my spiritual awakening or my breakthrough. It was when I discovered that just by keeping a gratitude journal, my life could change tremendously. If I do nothing else and just that, I'm changing my whole life. So thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Stacey, you do something called Reiki energy healing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. Could you explain a little bit about that? I'm really fascinated.
Sure. So energy healing has been around since the beginning of time. I mean, Jesus used energy healing. If you look and read through the scriptures, that's exactly what he was doing. He had, there's images depicted of him with light glowing from his hands. So it's something, energy healing is something that anybody can tap into. It's something that everybody can do if that's what they wanted to do. Now, I was certified with Reiki, and I also do aqua lead, which is another form of healing. But typically what you're doing is you're connecting yourself to a higher power and allowing the energy to flow through you, out your hands, into somebody else. And, a lot of people are like, oh, that's just weird stuff, or, whatever.
Because it's unknown, right?
Sorry?
Right? They say that because it's unknown to them.
Right.
Right. And so that's why I want to talk about this, because it's fascinating to me.
It's unknown and it's unseen. It's not tangible. Like if you go for a massage, you can feel the person massaging you. However, just that touch from anybody is energy. Like, have you ever walked into a room where there was tension or an argument? You can just feel it.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
Right. Or you walk in
and they just light up the whole room. It's like you can feel their energy.
Absolutely. So energy is not something we can see, it's something we can feel. But I always say to people who are skeptical and they're using, their cell phone, I say, well, how does that work? Do you know how that works? Because you can access anything from anywhere in the world on this thing, but it's not connected to anything. Do you know how it works? No, because there's an unseen connection. We don't know how it works, but everybody uses this every day, all day long, yet they don't know how it works. So I use, the energy healing is like Wi-Fi. It's like the Wi-Fi signal that you can't see, and we're tapping into that is universal and available to all of us. And we can help others with that. We can help the animals with that. We can help the earth with that. There's a group that I belong in, and when there's the fires in Australia or floods or anything like that, we set a time and we get together and we send the energy to those people, to those areas. So you can do it from anywhere. You don't have to be in front of a person.
That's amazing.
Because there is no time. There's no time or space continuum with energy.
So when we talk about the collective mass consciousness going to a different level, is that what we're talking about?
That is part of it. It's, that goes into a whole other conversation of, 3D energy and 5D energy and shifting. But that's not so much energy healing. That's more of a consciousness. Now, you've heard the saying that you are the result of the 7 people you hang around with the most, right?
Yeah. I didn't know it was 7, but okay.
I just threw that number out there. I don't know if it's 7 either.
You got me.
No. Just for the sake of conversation, let's say it's 7. But then those people are the result of the 7 people they hang around with, and so on and so on. So what we think and who we are and what we do is a result of the collective consciousness. It's who we talk to, who they talk to, and, what the media says, what the government tells us, what, the list goes on and on. The societal conditioning is what the collective consciousness is. So we are, like I said, I'm starting to see a shift in this with the men even, and there's a shift happening where people are starting to want to know more. They're wanting to know, to be better people. They're looking into self-help and self-healing, and they're wanting to raise their vibrations and be better people and do better things. And like, how can I serve other people? What is my purpose? How can I help others? And, if we look back to, the 80s and 90s era, there was very much I'm in it for me. There was a very egotistical mindset of I'm in it for me. I'm taking care of me and my family, and I don't care about anybody else. Now we're shifting into a consciousness of how can I help you? How can I serve you? Where's the higher purpose here? How can we be better people? Where can we raise our energy and our thoughts and create a better world? So that is shifting, and I'm loving this shift that's happening.
You're right. Absolutely. I noticed that too. So I wonder if it's because I'm putting myself in those kind of environments, or I'm putting myself in those kind of surroundings with like-minded people, or if there's just more people who are waking up every morning and thinking, you know what, I'm done living like this. I want a different life.
I think it's both. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest.
It's just wonderful. It's really nice. And you know what? I find that once you start on this path of self-enlightenment, more and more and more and more and more doors open up, and it's just an amazing world out there, people.
Yes, it really is. And when you start opening up yourself and declaring, you know, make a decision, declare what it is you are working at or wanting or doing, and make that happen into the now. And when you have made that decision, the universe is going to conspire to bring it to you. So you can either say, yes, I'm going to go with the flow, or you can say, no, I'm going to stay where I am because I need to play small, and I, you know, what will people think? And, you know, there's a lot of that going on still of, no, I'm okay. I don't need to expand. I don't want to go to that event with you. Like, there's so many events that I go to, and I ask people, friends all the time, and 99% of the time they're like, oh, no, I don't want to. Well, take a step out, you know, see what else is out there in the world. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have experience something new. And if it's for you, great. If it's not, that's okay too. But be open to bringing new energy and new things into your life, because that's the only way that you're going to start seeing doors open and things happening. And then you just go with the flow, and you find yourself in this place, and you're like, wonder how I got here. Like, what happened? But be open and keep moving forward and trying new things. You don't know if you like something if you're not going to try it.
You're so right.
Start getting into a yes energy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So, happy International Women's Day, by the way.
Oh, yes. Happy International Women's Day. Yay.
And for all the audience out there, we have a lot of people watching. I want to invite the audience, if they have any questions. Is that okay? Like, if
yes.
You know, if there's something on your mind that like a self-limiting belief or of some sort. Julie, thank you so much. She says, Dela, you light up the room. Thank you. So
she does.
Thank you, Stacey. So do you.
Thank you.
You did something recently with me. It was like a little program that it was amazing. I want to talk about that. Is that okay?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So explain a little bit what that was.
So it was a subliminal messaging program that I created for Dela, as well as several other people. And subliminal messaging isn't anything new. It's something that's been used for ever since magazines were created. You know, I remember being in high school and the teacher talking about subliminal messaging and showing us this advertisement. And if you looked really close, you could see what was going on. But the subliminal messaging programming has gotten so good with graphic artists and musicians and so on that you don't even see it anymore. You don't hear it. You have no idea what you're being programmed with. For example, if you're scrolling through Facebook and you're seeing ads or even those memes, or you know how people will send you something in Messenger and it has like, it's just a picture, but inside that picture is a subliminal message. And your conscious mind can't see it, but it is received by your unconscious mind. So whether it's a picture or an audio clip or something else, and it could be something as simple as, you need to buy this. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need to buy that. And you don't know why. It's nothing that you've ever wanted before, but you're like, I need that. What is that? And all of a sudden, you know, you're finding yourself purchasing something that you've never even wanted before. So, and right? And there's programming going on at a societal level as well. And like I said, in commercials you're hearing on the radio or anything like that, right? So using my neuro-linguistic programming background and understanding how the unconscious mind receives information, using subliminal messaging programming, which is what I had done for you, Dela, is I had you send me a list of self-limiting beliefs or patterns that have been noticed by you in your life. And I reworded those into a program where your unconscious mind can receive that information in a new way. And I put it in an audio so that you can just listen to background music. And you don't hear any of the words. It's just music that you're listening to. So consciously, so by doing that, we take away the conscious mind, because the conscious mind is the rational mind. It's the analytical mind. It's the mind that will say, I don't believe that. That's why self-affirmations don't work, because you have to believe it. And if your unconscious mind doesn't believe it, no matter how often you repeat those self-affirmations, it's not going to change anything until you change it on the unconscious level. So if I were to say to you, Dela, you are a multimillionaire right now, how is your reaction to that? You're like, that'd be nice.
You are crazy.
That's kind of nice, but so, we need to change those patterns on the unconscious level so that your conscious mind doesn't get involved. We go straight to the unconscious. So that's what subliminal programming does, good or not good. Again, we're being programmed every day. We just don't know what that program is. So why not choose to program something that you want?
Excellent. So Dr. Ajam, he's my law of attraction go-to. We have talks on here all the time on different, on different topics. He's saying, wish you could share an example of subliminal message in a graphic design or ad.
But that's just it. I can't share something that somebody else has done because I don't know if it's been done. You don't see it. So it's in the background. So if you imagine, say this painting behind me, there's words in that painting, but you can't see them. Our conscious mind can't see them. If he wanted, I could create one and I could post it underneath this so that he can see. You just can't see it.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I can take your, what does that say behind you? Families are forever?
Yes.
I can create a graphic design of that, a post saying families are forever. And then I can create a subliminal message underneath that that says, family life sucks. So here I am trying to say, everything is great on the inside, but underneath it, there's a program that's happening.
So Dr. Ajahn says, my question, is it going to be effective even if I don't believe it subconsciously?
But your unconscious mind, and that's why with the with the subliminal programming, as I said earlier, I'm not sure if he heard this part or not, or if he's just jumping on, is how your unconscious mind receives information. So I reword those things that you're saying in a way that your unconscious mind receives the information as a direct command. Like I had said earlier, open window now. Or I now release 15 pounds because it makes me feel healthy. It's how your unconscious mind receives that information, because your unconscious mind is programmed with everything that's happened in your life. So again, to remove or readjust that programming, it just goes directly to your unconscious mind. So it's our conscious mind, things that we think of on a conscious level, where we have the feeling and emotion with it. The unconscious mind doesn't have that emotion connection as much as our conscious mind. So we're overriding the conscious.
So thanks for the explanation. I do want to say that I had a long list of stuff for you, Stacey, didn't I? It was really long. I I don't remember exactly what they were, but I know that there was a long list. I actually have them here. Do you mind if I go through them?
Sure.
Okay, so I sent them to Stacey, and then she said, okay, no problem. Just give me a few hours, and then I'll send you the program. So these were some of my beliefs. Okay, these were some of the old programming, right? And please let us know if you can relate to these. Money is not important. Don't be selfish. I can't eat what I want. If I do, I get fat. I have to work hard for my money. Money doesn't grow on trees. There's a lot on money. I can't say no. What if they say no? I'm not strong enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not smart enough. I am too young to have their wisdom. I'm too old to have their time. I'm too small to have opportunities. Who do I think I am? I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't know. I don't need money to be happy. There's a lot.
That is a lot.
Tell me, are these some things that you normally see?
Yes,
Or
absolutely. The most common ones that I see are relationships, weight, and money, and just general happiness.
oh, so I'm not very unique.
No,
I think I have all of those on here.
that's right. So I'm actually just looking for the document where I what I said with your reprogram, so that people can get an idea. And so keep talking while I'm looking for that, Dela.
What I did then, I sent Stacey a list of all these different old programming. That things that I thought I have been thinking ever since I was a kid, and things that I think are holding me back, because I do believe that what we say to ourselves, that our thoughts are the reason why we're held back in life. So Stacey sent me a program. And I got to choose a background music. So there was a lot of different kinds of music. So I looked through them and I picked the kind that I wanted. So I picked a meditation background music. So then Stacey sent me a program. It's an hour long of this beautiful meditation music. But when I was listening to it, I noticed that somebody's saying something. And I asked you, Stacey, I said, but I can't hear what you're saying. Like, am I supposed to be able to hear what you're saying? How am I supposed to change anything if I don't know what you're saying? And you said, no, Dela, that's really just the way it's supposed to be. You're not really supposed to make out what I'm saying. It's really to touch your unconscious mind.
Yes.
To change
Absolutely.
those thoughts. Okay, so how do you go about coming up with a program like this? Is there a formula? Is there, do you just look at those beliefs and then you just?
Yeah, I found the pro. Do you want to know what your program was? I never even shared it with you.
Yeah, no, you didn't. This is a good spot for it, right here. Nobody will know, just me and you.
Okay, so the three things that I say in every program is, I am safe, I now forgive myself and others, and I am free. It is now safe and healthy for me to speak my truth. I now love myself and others unconditionally. I am open to an abundance of money which comes easily and frequently to me now. I now live a rich and fulfilling life with ease and grace. I fuel my body with nourishing food and beverages, which keeps me at a healthy weight. My awareness is now open to new opportunities and experiences that benefit me and fuel my soul. I now enjoy an abundant and prosperous life. I always have an abundance of resources and time. I now live in a state of joy, love, and peace. Having an abundance of money makes me feel healthy and happy. I am successful, rich, and loving it. I now inspire or heal others by sharing my gifts and presence. I now celebrate my intelligence, wisdom, and strength. I am loved and worthy beyond measure, and I trust my own intuition and wisdom. So that is what you were being programmed with.
Amazing. I kind of knew that's what I was hearing without really hearing it. Is that how it's supposed to work? It's so weird.
Well, and that is exactly how it's supposed to work, because again, we're not bringing the conscious mind in, we're reprogramming the unconscious level. And when you reprogram on the unconscious level, it brings it to your consciousness, because that's where everything hides. That's your servo mechanism. Everything is your unconscious mind. The big reveal today.
Amazing. Yeah, those are good words. I much rather hear those words every day in my head.
Yes.
Than what I have been saying to myself.
Yes.
That's crazy. But I got to tell you, Stacey, I have been listening to that program every single night. I think I must have missed a couple of nights.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to listening to it every night, and I fell asleep listening to it.
Good.
And when I wake up, Dr. Ajam says, "Awesome, good programming, good programming. Dela, now you are wired for a good life,
yes.
a fantastic life."
Yes.
And the good thing is that the best part is that everybody can do this.
Absolutely. It's something that happens. You don't even have to put any effort into it. All you have to do is listen to music. And the best time to listen to it is when you're meditating or while you're sleeping, because your conscious mind is shut off at that point. However, you can listen to it while you're doing dishes or having family dinner. I mean, if it's being programmed, and if you have negative beliefs, more than likely your family does too, your spouse, your kids, or so on. So, to be able to play it in the background just in your home, everybody is benefiting from it.
Amazing. And I gotta tell you, okay, guys, this program has allowed me to enjoy an even deeper sleep. And it's so funny because I used to never remember the dreams I had. Now I actually remember dreams also. Is that normal?
That's incredible. And yes, it's possible. You're waking up to a new, you're opening and expanding your mind and your horizons, right? So it's definitely possible. One thing I want to mention just as a caveat here is some of the people that start listening to it after, the first time, second, the first few times that you listen to it. And this actually happened to me because I test casted myself before I sent it out to anybody else. And I listened to it for the first night during my sleep, and I woke up the next morning and I felt this feeling, and I was like, oh, what is this feeling? A couple of hours. And I was like, oh, that's resistance. Welcome. I was so happy to see that there was resistance happening, because the ego sometimes doesn't want us to change, right? So there was resistance happening on an unconscious level or on a conscious level, because something was being shifted in me. So that was my big cue of, wow, something's really happening here. And the next day I felt it a little bit. And by the third day, it was just gone. And I've had that happen with some other people as well, as they feel this resistance happen, because it's like, your conscious mind and your ego are going, oh, wait, we're shifting here. Something is changing. Oh boy, what's going on? Right. And so, but keep going with it. And every single person has said, I'm so glad I kept going with it. I'm so glad that, you know, it shifted and it's just moved and it's gone. And, you know, they're having, almost everybody is telling me that they're having better sleeps and they're feeling more connected. And so a lot of really neat shifts are happening with everybody that's doing this, which is, yeah, which is really, really cool.
Congratulations on what you do, Stacey. I mean,
Thank
we've
you.
been talking for an hour. I have to tell you, like, it has gone like this for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it has. I got so much more to say.
I know. So I would love to have you back on the show. Perhaps we can put it out there and people can even like have their questions asked, and this could be a question and answer show. But I want to thank you personally for the program that you gave me, and I want to encourage whoever, if you feel like you need something that's not working to change, reach out to Stacey. I'm sure she'll be able to help you. Her information is right on this post, so go ahead and reach out. And she'll take care of you, I'm sure, as she has taken care of me. I really appreciate that. Stacey Haluka, any last words?
My last words would be just to lead on to follow up. I believe that we can change the collective consciousness if we change ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's why I do what I do. And especially, you know, the subliminal programming is the easiest, simplest thing that you can do to help shift your consciousness. And when we shift and grow and change our energy, we shift and grow and change the energy of the people around us. So it's just, I love that I'm able to take part of this. I'm loving that people like you are taking part of this, because that means you're growing and shifting and changing your energy, which is changing and shifting the energy of people around you. So thank you for that. And I appreciate you having me on. I'm so grateful to have been here. Thank you everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you again.
You're welcome. And thank you for everything you do, Stacey. I do believe that change comes from within, and it's a ripple effect that you have no idea where it's going to end up. And you can start a big change just by changing that one tiny bit of yourself. And this can be a more beautiful world every day. I thank you everybody for watching and your support. As always, this is Dela's voice, hoping to spark your soul. Till next time.